In 1983, Michael Jackson's Thriller video cost more than his entire album to make, and MTV broadcast him to millions who barely spoke English. Meanwhile, Prince, at the peak of Purple Rain, started a war with his own label. Both were musical geniuses, but only one became a global icon. The difference was not just talent, it was timing, strategy, and an industry on the verge of transformation. What separated a universal superstar from an intentional outsider? The answer begins where a new media era collides with two very different philosophies. MTV began broadcasting on August 1st, 1981, with a promise to make music visual. At first, the channel played almost exclusively white rock acts, leaving black artists shut out of the rotation. That changed in early 1983, when CBS Records president Walter Yetnikoff pressured the executives at MTV to add Michael Jackson's Billie Jean to their playlist. Yetnikoff threatened to pull all CBS videos and go public about the network's refusal to feature black performers. The network, under financial strain and facing mounting criticism, gave in. Billie Jean debuted on MTV on March 10, 1983, and quickly entered heavy rotation. This decision did not just add a hit song to the channel, it broke open the format. Jackson's Billie Jean and Beat It brought narrative, dance, and cinematic flair that set a new standard for what a music video could be. MTV's audience exploded, and so did the station's fortunes. By the end of 1983, MTV had reversed a projected $10 million loss, with Jackson's videos credited for driving a surge in viewership and advertising revenue. The network's playlists, once closed to black artists, now revolved around Jackson's work. Behind the scenes, Jackson's label and management recognized the power of this new visual platform. They pushed for even more ambitious projects, culminating in the Thriller short film, which premiered on MTV in December 1983. The channel promoted the 14-minute video as a television event, airing it multiple times an hour to meet demand. MTV executives saw firsthand how a single artist's visuals could fuel both album sales and their own network's growth. As MTV's reach expanded, syndication deals carried its programming into new markets. By the late 1980s, MTV Europe and other international feeds began broadcasting Jackson's videos across dozens of countries, making his music and image instantly recognizable far beyond the United States. The infrastructure was now in place: satellite feeds, cable syndication, and a global appetite for video-driven pop. Jackson's embrace of the medium, paired with the channel's rapid expansion, created a feedback loop that amplified his reach with every new broadcast. The tools that would define a global superstar were now available, ready for those willing to use them. Michael Jackson understood that music alone was no longer enough to reach every corner of the world. He treated each project as a global event, starting with the Thriller short film. Jackson partnered with director John Landis, known for An American Werewolf in London, to create a cinematic experience that ran nearly 14 minutes, far longer and more ambitious than any music video before it. The production cost soared to about $1 million, eclipsing the budget for most feature films per minute and even rivaling the cost of the Thriller album itself. This was a calculated risk. Jackson and his label Epic Records financed the project up front, betting that a blockbuster video could drive album sales and capture global attention. Distribution was just as strategic. MTV premiered Thriller as a television event in December 1983, airing it repeatedly to meet demand. Jackson's team did not stop at broadcast. They worked with Vestron Music Video to package the documentary about the making and the short film as a VHS release, selling over 1 million copies, a staggering figure for the era. The Thriller video was not just a promotional tool, it became a commercial product, a Halloween staple, and a pop culture anchor that transcended language and borders. Jackson's approach to branding expanded the reach even further. In 1984, he signed a multi-year endorsement deal with Pepsi that ran through 1988. The partnership went beyond television commercials. Pepsi funded world tour sponsorships, put Jackson's image on cans and merchandise, and broadcast ads in dozens of countries. These campaigns brought his likeness and music to living rooms from Tokyo to Rio de Janeiro, reinforcing his presence far beyond the charts. Touring infrastructure matched this global strategy. The Bad World Tour, which ran from 1987 to 1989, included 123 shows across 15 countries and sold approximately 4.4 million tickets. Stadiums from London to Yokohama filled with fans who had already seen Jackson's videos and commercials on TV. Each stop was a media event, amplified by satellite broadcasts and news coverage. All of these moves, the high-budget visuals, home video sales, multinational sponsorships, and stadium-scale touring, were designed to saturate every available channel. But as Jackson's influence grew, so did the questions about what it meant to be everywhere at once. The pursuit of ubiquity raised ethical debates about access, control, and the cost of global fame. Prince stood at the height of his commercial power in 1984, with Purple Rain topping charts and selling 25 million copies worldwide. Yet when the invitation came to join the all-star charity single, We Are the World, co-written by Michael Jackson, he declined. Insiders pointed to his discomfort with the spectacle and his desire to avoid what he saw as industry pageantry. This was not a one-off decision. Prince regularly turned down major interviews and endorsements, even as his fame soared. He preferred to communicate through his music and controlled every aspect of his image, from album art to on-stage personas. The drive for autonomy only intensified with time. In the early 1990s, Prince's relationship with Warner Brothers soured over creative control and release schedules. The label wanted a slower pace. Prince wanted to release more music on his own terms. In 1993, he changed his name to an unpronounceable symbol as a bold protest against what he called slave contracts. The move forced journalists and fans to refer to him as the artist formerly known as Prince, and it complicated everything from marketing to radio play. But it allowed him to release music independently through his Paisley Park hub, bypassing traditional channels and asserting ownership over his work. These choices protected his vision, but came with trade-offs. Prince's music often blurred genres and defied radio formats, making it harder to package for mass consumption. While Purple Rain became a cultural milestone, his later releases reached a more selective audience, especially outside the US and Europe. For Prince, the priority was always control of sound, image, and legacy, even if it meant sacrificing the kind of global saturation that defined his contemporaries. Radio in the 1980s operated on strict top 40 formats, rewarding songs that fit a narrow, hook-driven mold. Michael Jackson's singles, built for accessibility, dominated these playlists. Billie Jean and Beat It climbed to #1, repeated across the US airwaves, and then exported to international stations as part of global syndication deals. By contrast, Prince's genre blending and willingness to push lyrical boundaries often kept his songs off standardized rotations, especially in markets wary of explicit content or unconventional structures. While Purple Rain and When Doves Cry broke through, later tracks struggled to find the same mass radio support, particularly outside English-speaking countries. Heat map data from the streaming era confirms these patterns. Jackson's catalog shows deep saturation in North America, Europe, Latin America, and Asia. Spotify and YouTube metrics, as of 2025, place his monthly listeners at over 25 million worldwide, with Thriller and Billie Jean drawing hundreds of millions of streams from Brazil to India. Prince, meanwhile, maintains a loyal but regionally concentrated audience. His streaming peaks, roughly 7 million monthly listeners, cluster in the US, the UK, and France, with far lower engagement in Latin America and Asia, regions where radio and video syndication once set the tone for pop culture. Language and genre universality played a decisive role. Jackson's dance pop and visual storytelling crossed borders regardless of spoken word, while Prince's eclecticism, explicitness, and resistance to label-driven packaging limited his music's translation into non-English markets. The numbers reflect these choices. Jackson's global reach persists in every measurable channel, while Prince's legacy thrives where artistic independence resonates most. Today, global stardom rewards those who surrender to the system and punishes those who resist. Streaming algorithms still favor the familiar over the fiercely individual. The line between icon and outsider depends on choices artists make right now. The world is watching. Drop your thoughts below.